Hello, everyone. Welcome to BeerThralls Presents Beer Protocol. I'm James. I'm drinking Southern Tears Warlock. Backwards for
Ew.
everyone because, what are you popping open, Jake?
Oh, I'm popping open a distraction as I open V for Victories, Hazy Pale IPA.
Oh, never
No,
mind.
Easy Ringer Session IPA.
Oh, I thought it was going to be something good.
I
It's an IPA.
I'm Matt. Oh, I'm Matt, and I'm drinking Angry Orchards Peach Mango.
Nice. I have a bunch of your Angry Orchards down in my fridge.
Yep. And
So,
my Monsters and my Red Bulls.
Yep.
But I can't get them right now. So
Nope. So, gentlemen, cheers.
clank.
Cheers. James, we should abandon this podcast on the verge of failure and open a brewery business called Angie's Orchard.
No.
Why
Oh, God,
Angie's?
this is so good.
So, welcome everyone. Today we are going to be talking about the Master of Illusions, Quentin Beck, Mysterio.
Uh-huh.
As one of our fellow BeerThralls pointed out, apparently Spider-Man No Way Home is streaming today on the cable channels, so let's talk about its main villain. However, this is the comic book interpretation of Mysterio and
Yep.
has little to nothing to do with the MCU's version of Mysterio.
Still has the
So
globe
disregard all of that.
head. Still has the globe head.
So, what do we know about Mysterio from
got
comics
six-
and lore?
Absolutely nothing.
He's basically the Scarecrow from the DC universe in Marvel, except he
I'd like him.
he uses the gas to hypnotize you and to just basically hypnotize you. In the comics, he was actually I believe he was just a plain old hypnotist that somehow got this gas that made his just
Hypnotism really work?
mundane powers even stronger. So basically, he just has a power suggestion.
Yeah, so typically Mysterio is a guy.
Mhm.
And the whole globe head is for dramatic effect. His costume is for dramatic effect.
Everything.
His billowing purple cape, dramatic.
Sexy. That's what I see.
I'm actually not going to tell you you're wrong just yet. We'll let that bear out when we see some stat lines. So, starting us off at the top, Mysterio has an interesting stat line: 6 stamina, slow movement, size 2, and threat 3.
And he's on
James,
he's on a small base.
how big is small base? Small movement on a small base is interesting.
Low.
He better have something to overcome that.
He doesn't. Let's go on. His first, defenses. Since we talked about Carnage last week with his messed up defensive line, let's go the opposite direction. Mysterio has 1 physical, 1 energy, and 5 mystic defense.
Because he's a dude.
Yeah, he's a man.
So I don't know how you're going to overcome that.
I do.
He actually has tech for that.
So
more than Carnage, at least.
Definitely more than Carnage. So let's talk about his both his powers are psychic based.
Powers or attacks, James?
Both.
Attacks. His attacks are psychic base.
I'm going back to my Warlock because it's Mysterio.
His first attack, Hypnosis Gas, is range 3. Again, range 3 on a small base, respectable. This is like the absolute minimum it would have to be for him to be safe in the slightest. 4 dice on attack, 0 cost. The builder effect is the standard, gains power equal to the damage dealt. And if this attack deals any damage, after this attack is resolved, this character may advance the target character short. This triggers on damage, don't need any wilds. That's a nice ability.
Nice.
That's actually significantly better because it's not than a lot of abilities like Sam's shield throw or Cap shield throw, which push on wild. This is significantly stronger because it only has the damage, and you get to advance them. So you can push, pull. There's no restriction on toward or away. Super strong for scenario.
So after this attack was resolved, which means the attacker gets to determine the order. So if it's something like Venom who gets the counter strike, you could go, okay, cool. After the attacker is resolved, I push you, and now you're not in range.
Yep. There are a couple drawbacks to be aware of. One, is it's Mystic.
Mhm.
So Mystic Defense used to be a very strong attack, and it still is in many aspects because there were so few good Mystic defenses. That's rapidly changing as I come in and out of focus.
Very, very rapidly changing.
There are going to be a lot of very good Mystic defenders, like the new affiliation, the Convocation with new Doctor Strange is all about Mystic defense. So, as some of the new hotness sprinkles, this is going to get harder and harder to get a solid foothold with. But you only need to do 1 damage. You don't have to break the bank with every swing of this. You just need to do 1 damage to get what you wanted out of it, which should be pretty feasible. Against the Web Warriors, who I imagine thematically Mysterio is going to be going up against quite a bit, they're average Mystic defenses, so you'll probably pop this off.
Yeah,
the other thing to be cautious of, sorry, this is my last point, then I'll go off the stage and let you talk about it. This is a movement of a Mystic ability. There are now 2 models in the game who will laugh at Mysterio and say, jack shit, buddy. Deadpool and Moon Knight, because they're literally insane, and they couldn't give 2 shits what Mysterio does.
Yep.
So be cautious of that, because there are going to be at least a couple of models floating around who this will not affect.
So that was part of my point with the, there's 2 characters and there's a couple characters that just say I ignore this. Actually, I don't think they say can be pushed or it just needs to be moved.
I can pull up Deadpool's card to verify.
Yeah, look up Deadpool's card real quick because they say you might be able to say you can't be pushed or pulled, but this is actually literally a advance.
Cannot be pushed or advanced by effects from mystic attacks or enemy superpowers.
All right, yeah, so he can't do this. But as a builder, this is a very good way in Criminal Syndicate and I would say Spider Foes to kind of control the battlefield a little bit more and put people in position where you want.
If this was range 4, there's a solid chance it could replace Shuri in a lot of control.
Oh lists. Yeah, if this was range 4, I would definitely replace Shuri with this. But it's not. It's range 3. Still, do you want to replace Shuri with this? I mean, he is a 3-point character.
We'll see.
All right, Curtain Call. It's only range 2,
which is not great news for our special boy.
Very, very, very not good for the fact that he's got 1/1. It is 6 dice and 4 power. If this is his his little spender attack, if the attack deals, I can't see it. Damage? Yeah, if the attack
deals damage, yeah.
And if the target is size 2 or less, after the attack is resolved, it may be thrown short.
Not bad, but
on a wild stagger.
So this is a great spender for 4.
It's
2 good effects: a throw and a stagger potentially.
It's okay.
My main problem here is the range. It is short range, so this feels like a panic button already.
Yeah.
But it's also
really though.
Well, it's also only 6 dice, and you're going to be reliant for 6 dice is a pretty okay, but I think overall it's going to make Mysterio relatively pillow-fisted.
It is.
Mysterio will not put out damage, the big numbers you need. Now, he might be able to do consistent output of small numbers, like 1 or 2 damage at a time with Hypnosis Gas and occasionally Curtain Call. But I think Mysterio is much more about his superpowers that he brings to the table and the potential movement from Hypnosis Gas than he is about trying to finish someone with this.
This is a kind of a combo with the first one. If you do have the power, don't expect to get 4 power on 1 strike or 3 power on 1 strike because you're going to build 1. But like Hypnosis Gas to kind of like move somebody into a position where you can do Curtain Call and toss them into something. It's a nice combo.
That's pretty good.
But don't rely on that. He's too squishy to be that close. This is real. Curtain Call is literally the big panic button of, oh man, Wolverine's really close to me.
Yeah, or like Carnage, please go away.
Well, is it though? I mean, we haven't gotten to it yet. I have a good question. I'm going to read Tricks and Traps real quick.
Go ahead.
His reactive superpower.
When an enemy character ends a movement within range 3 of this character may use this superpower. Roll 4 dice.
3
the
power.
Enemy character... Oh, 3 power, yes. The enemy character suffers 1 damage for each critical and wild rolled. If this superpower does at least 1 damage, this character may advance short.
Now,
So-
what's really
Wait.
So,
Let
I'm
Matt.
sorry,
Matt,
I'll let you finish.
go ahead.
Matt, talk your business.
So the hypno gas, right?
Yep.
It's an advance
Yep.
of an enemy character. Does that trigger tricks and traps so you can really get 3 attacks in 1 turn?
Yes.
So
I
you
don't
could take
know about
hypno
that.
gas, pull him in, spend your 3 power, blow him up with 4 dice, and curtain call him and yeet him out of there.
So
Before we go too far on that path, Tricks and Traps ends a movement. So I would need to clarify whether it's a movement action.
and
Actions
no.
can only be taken on
It's
that
a-
model's activation.
There's other
It doesn't
characters.
say.
Yeah, there's other characters that do this. The movement is just movement. It doesn't say movement action. So
Okay.
when you
That-
move
that would
him,
be really important.
yeah, when you move him, whatever. If you're still within 3, yes, you can then spend 3 and then activate tricks and traps. And that is the purpose of tricks and traps, is the hypnogas. Oh, you moved within my range. Cool. I'm now going to go ahead and hit you with this little extra, like, pop in the nose.
So you can advance him into you, tricks and traps, do your damage, reposition him for your throw that you want to do, and slam him into something.
If you have
That's
7
talking about spending
power,
7 power.
Well, I'm just saying.
I
was
would-
just thinking.
I would rather have the.
It's possible.
I would
but
rather have-
something. Wow, this light has decided to just obliterate my face.
So I would rather have this as a go away, or try to get into somebody else's range. I would rather do like the hypnogas, move somebody away where they're still within 3, do trips and traps, do a little more damage, and then advance them again into somebody else's range.
So,
Basically moving them twice.
Real
short.
quick, just to clarify, Tricks and Traps moves Mysterio, not the target. Mysterio gets to move.
Sorry. Yes, move them and then move myself. So it's still a move away from the. It's another panic button. Get away from me.
I think in general, Mysterio just has a lot of stay the hell away from me abilities. Because he is squishy, even with a defensive tech to make him slightly less squishy. I think Mysterio is very much. Oh my god, this camera has decided that I do not deserve to exist, and I am too white for this world.
You are way too white for this world. So, Matt, while he's adjusting his lights and trying,
striking
there
a
we go.
compromise, so I once again regain my pink human hue.
So we also had
you're
the
really not pink.
Master-
Go ahead, Master of Illusions.
Master of Illusions. Whenever this character rolls dice, after the effect is resolved, it gains 1 power if it rolled at least 1 blank. Additionally, this character uses his Mystic Defense die when making a dodge roll.
That's important.
That's amazing for a free power.
For 3 power?
And it also makes it so you
Free.
can power up your other 2 things really easy.
Yeah, it's whenever you roll dice, you gain 1 power if you just roll a blank. Right there, you're going to roll a blank. It's more prevalent. Okay. You are more than likely, because I know Jake is going to jump all over me. You're more than likely going to roll a blank. And if you don't, you're rolling hits, wilds, or defenses, which you want anyway. So
or a skull.
We don't discuss the skull.
Unless you're a Mobdu, or whatever his name is.
That this little power is going to give you a little extra power. You want to build it off of your offense and not really your defense. But the fact that it lets you like just use your Mystic Defense as your dodge roll, that's just awesome.
That goes a long way to fixing a durability problem that other characters like Vision and Enchantress, who otherwise have very solid defensive tech, throws can bypass a lot of that. And so this really patches a hole on Mysterio and kind of confirms. I formed an opinion about Mysterio where I think he's deceptively tanky, appropriate for the Master of Illusion.
He is.
I mean, I don't really understand why that should work, and it bothers me.
Well, let's look at the next ability and see if we can catch up.
All right,
Smoke and Mirrors, another passive. When an enemy character targets this character with an attack, this character may use its Oh, you already said that one. I'm sorry. Oh no, may use its Mystic Defense, regardless of the attack's type, unless the attacking character pays 2 power.
Yep.
So
that makes sense.
Same ability Enchantress has. It incentivizes if you're going to go after Mysterio, you either need to do lots of attacks or you need to already have built up a lot of power.
Yep.
Last 2 abilities are quick and easy. Stealth. Characters must be within 3 to target Mysterio with attacks, and flight.
And I think his damage side is the same. I don't see any differences.
1 less health.
One less health.
Why does he get flight? He is a normal dude.
No.
He has stolen Stark tech for his suit. Every villain in the Marvel universe has stolen Stark tech.
Okay. Never mind. That makes sense then.
In the Marvel universe, you either found your tech or Stark gave it to you.
Accidentally somehow.
Or aim.
Flight is a solved problem. It's actually kind of incredible that there are still airplanes in the Marvel universe.
But flight for him is...
That doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter.
Well,
why?
He's moving
all of his movement sticks are short, so you're right. With only short movement, it kind of begs the question. It's there only for when he gets movement from other things, like tactics cards.
No. Isn't there a character that says if you have flight, they do more damage?
Sam, yes, it makes him a bigger target.
So it makes him a bigger target for Sam. Yep.
It's thematic at this point. So here's the combo that makes Mysterio deceptively tanky in my mind. Stealth is a big part of this.
Mm-hmm.
Stealth means you have to be within 3. The moment you end your movement within 3, tricks and traps can trigger. So you're probably going to take damage the moment you actually try to go after Mysterio. That combined with Curtain Call for him to try to be like his getaway panic button, or Hypnosis Gas, he can continually manipulate people, push them away so they are outside of his attack range. So they still have to spend actions to move or power to use movement superpowers to actually target him, which may bankrupt them for being able to pay to bypass smoke and mirrors, or it'll force them to take more damage from tricks and traps.
So if you take a short base and move it short, are you outside of 2?
I think a short-based move short is roughly equal to 2.
So you could technically, if you line it up correctly, somebody with moves within 3 of you, you trigger tricks and traps. So I could say somebody charges, Zemo charges.
Yep.
Zemo stops, you trigger tricks and tracks, you do 1 damage, and you move outside of 2, he's now lost his ability to attack you.
That's really important because unlike other powers that give you movement, when you're targeted by an attack, the move of tricks and traps could screw your opponent's activation over. I feel like Curtain Call is almost always going to be triggered after Mysterio flips and he needs to panic button clear the space because Tricks and Traps is so freaking good that all of your power is going to Tricks and Traps and not his spending attack.
Now, the only problem I see with this, like you are correct. Now that you mention all this nonsense and we see how it all kind of like fits together, he's not that good at holding points. He wants to keep moving and bouncing around because, like, if you're sitting on a point and Hulk charges you, and you do tricks and traps and you bounce away, you're now off the point. So he kind of achieved his objective.
I feel like he's more pushing you off the point than he is actually holding the point.
Until someone scary charges him with enough attacks to bypass past smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. Wolverine or Sabretooth, like, basically just beating you in the head.
A big part of his defensive tech is based on moving himself out of range. So what I would almost argue is Mysterio might be a stellar extraction objective holder. Because he just has to hold the token.
Holy God, you're correct.
So unlike other objective holders who have long movement and stealth to sort of bypass your opponent, Mysterio's like, yeah, I got short movement. So if I can get to an objective token by one of my allies knocking someone out, Mysterio can kind of just scoop it up. And then he is doggedly frustrating for your opponent to close with, make contact, and damage.
Yeah.
Mysterio may not be terrible either in contesting points, because even if your opponent forces Mysterio to move off the point, they have to pay for it with some damage from tricks and traps. So if they're making an end of round last ditch effort where Mysterio is parked to try to bring in like a Black Widow or someone who's injured earlier to contest a point, Mysterio might be able to use tricks and traps to damage them, and then the movement's always optional.
That's true.
Now, you could just have really bad luck with tricks and traps and roll no damage, and then you don't get any movement, and then you've spent 3 power for nothing. But dice game. The other thing I want to talk about is Mysterio does have a tactic card, which plays extremely well into what he's got going on.
Is it called the Grand Illusion?
The Grand Illusion. Matt, read it out for us.
That's a really nice card, by the way.
It's unaffiliated. Mysterio may spend 4 power to play this card. Until the end of the cleanup phase, when an enemy character makes an attack, defense, or dodge roll while within 3 of Mysterio, it does not add dice to the results for crit results, and Mysterio changes all of its crit results to skull results.
Whoa. Hold on.
Want me to read that again?
Yeah. So I was like, the way I listened to you say that, I was thinking of his own team. I was like, that sounds crazy, but it's your enemies within 3.
Until the end of the cleanup phase, when an enemy character makes an attack, defense, or dodge roll while within 3 of Mysterio, it does not add dice to the roll for critical results, and Mysterio changes all of its critical results to skull results.
That is friggin' amazing.
Unless you're doing it against Scarlet Witch, but that's an extreme corner case.
Oh, yeah. No. This is Mysterio runs up and just goes, boom. And then Carnage runs up and goes, hi, everyone. How you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a powerhouse tactic card. If you are taking Mysterio, strongly consider this tactic card. There's a reason it costs 4. This does so much defensively for your team by potentially mitigating your opponent's rolls. It does so much offensively by, again, potentially mitigating your opponent's rolls.
But changing... Oh, God.
Like anything, like we talked about with Scarlet Witch, anything that changes an entire symbol on the die from positive to negative or vice versa makes such a big impact on dice math in this game. And the fact that you are flipping crits to misses, and specifically unmodifiable misses.
I think the only person that doesn't carry Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, Scarlet Witch will still use these dice, no problem.
And a lot of people care if they get skull results negatively.
Yeah.
Like then, Doc Ock will get more power.
Yeah, and there's like okay, so flipping it to blanks, like we've seen a lot of things flip to things to blanks, but there's a lot of stuff that's like, hey, count blanks as defense.
Yeah,
this is flipping the skulls, which means they can't flip it back.
Yep.
So, oh God,
it's very strong.
Start this off early.
When would you play this? Or specifically, what kind of board state would be like, now's the time for a big show? Because it is not during the start of the round, it's during your activation. So it does need to be your turn. So if you don't have initiative, your opponent's going to get at least 1 guaranteed turn to beat the shit out of Mysterio before he gets to play it. But if played early in the round, and yes, this is something you play as early as you can in the round, even if it's activate Mysterio, use his builder twice, and just hope you get to 4 so you can play it by the end of Mysterio's turn, and you park him somewhere.
I mean, I would say you would use his builder twice to get more people into range, and then pop the card.
You don't have to get people into range unless you're going for an offensive setup.
Yeah,
because remember,
but
your opponent hates Mysterio.
So
your opponent will move into range to kill Mysterio.
Yeah, because once Mysterio is gone, they're no longer within range 3.
Is this a pulse or is it an aura?
Aura.
So if you move into his range after he pops his card, you're being affected by the card.
Okay.
So
you want to punch him in the face real fucking good.
Right. So this is going to put a big target on Mysterio, but it's great defensive tech to keep Mysterio alive on top of all of Mysterio's other defensive tech. What's funny,
and tricks and traps.
Tricks and traps is very much a defensive tech to get Mysterio out of a bad situation. But if you're feeling cocky, there's nothing saying you can't go deeper into your opponent's offensive formation.
That is true.
Yep. And spread the grand illusion.
Hey, thanks for moving, and then immediately moves into more groups. Gamma shelters once again. Anything that's going to have. Actually.
I mean,
so does the role? Wait, the role says any defense,
offense,
or dodge
roll.
Okay.
Basically, they roll some dice. It's not a power. Suck it.
Pop Grand Illusion early in the game, and then have Mysterio pick up all of the hammers. I don't know if that's good. It's funny.
Oh my god, him picking up all the hammers where he's got like a friggin' base attack of like 8?
4.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Hammers at, don't they?
Yep.
My final kind of assessment is I do not think Mysterio is at all a damaging or an offensive piece at 3 threat. I think he is a utility and control piece.
Yep.
Specifically, he gives you lots of control of your opponent's movements. He gives you additional utility in that he can potentially tank up on a point, or even if it's just something as simple as your opponent just got within 3 of the minimum, and Mysterio uses tricks and traps to move from this side of the point to the other side of the point. It's still in contesting, but now out of whatever attack they were going to use.
So I would also say, like you said before, he's also a really good secondary objective grabber and running away.
Yes. Now, huge problem with Mysterio. He is slow moving, just super slow, small, regular, normal base, slow movement. It's not a great combination. Bonus, he's not affected by the slow condition.
Nope.
I mean, yay.
So
in the same way that Carnage isn't affected by Incinerate.
So my question is,
yay.
He is a 1-1-5, even though they spend the 2. Blah blah blah. They should probably have the 2 to spend. Would you bring Mysterio with Carnage?
Now, would I bring Mysterio? Well, here's the thing: Criminal Syndicate and Spider Foes. What I would also kind of argue is an interesting corner case for Mysterio. His attacks are not going to be effective against all of the new Mystic Defenders coming out. But on the flip side, all of the new Convocation and models coming out are heavily Mystic attack based, and Mysterio is a Mystic tank.
That is true.
So Mysterio flips from situationally tanky but squishy to against the Convocation affiliation to just being.
So I would say, so the reason why we keep saying Criminal Syndicate, and if you don't know, we keep saying Criminal Syndicate and Spider Foes, because the characters are like 90% interlocked.
Turns out, criminals.
Yeah, so most of the people, like Kingpin is in Spider Foes, but he's also the head of Criminal Syndicate. There's also a lot of overlap between the two. So like if you bring Spider Foes to like a tournament, you're going to have Criminal Syndicate to kind of choose from. So I think you would put him in your 10. If you see like your opponent walks out and goes, I'm playing Defenders and Convocation, and puts out the thing as like Doctor Strange, Hood, and like Eternal and everyone else, you go, I'll bring Mysterio and I won't bring Carnage. But they walk out and they're like, Avengers. You're like, here's Mysterio.
and Carnage. Avengers has got lots of physical attacks.
It's one of those things of he's a really good slot. Like, you look at because you pull the missions before you choose your characters. So you look at the missions and go, wow, I kind of really do need some type of Mystic tank to sit in the middle and just kind of push people around for this. I need somebody to grab an objective and run back. Mysterio is probably a good idea. You have like Gamma Shelters or something else. You might be like, Mysterio might not be as good, but Carnage is going to be better. So I would say based on the scenario.
in Mysterio's favor, 6 stamina is actually a good amount of health for a 3-threat model.
It is, but like you gotta remember, if they do pay the 2 and he's only doing 1 die, you're looking at maybe possibly 4 damage on you.
I kind of hope Gamma Shelters goes away. Like, I feel like the only reason it's getting play is because of the grouping of the objectives. It has nothing to do with the damage effect if you're pushed out.
I agree, but as a tournament player, I really like Gamma Shelters for that just exact same reason.
Why? Because it's simple, easy to set up, and basic?
So no, because it forces you to clump
simple,
up.
Smooth.
It forces you to clump up, and if you're playing a very killy group, say like Black Order, you want everyone kind of grouped up. And Gamma Shelters does that for you because if they're away from the Gamma Shelters, they're taking damage every turn. And for like,
I just find killy to be kind of boring.
I mean, now Mysterio on Gamma Shelters might not be too bad. I mean, Mysterio on Gamma Shelters might not be too bad to push people off points towards the end of the round. And he's
that's all you really want. Shuri's still going to do that job better.
Shuri will do that job better.
Less.
It's 6. No, Shuri is also 3.
Also 3.
Oh,
but 6 dice versus 4, looking for the 1 damage. Hell, Shuri doesn't even need to damage them. Yeah. Shuri just has to point and click with range 5.
Yeah.
But Mysterio's still super interesting, and I think he fills a solid role in Web Warriors because now they have 2 tanks to choose from. Mysterio with his evasion and sort of surprising, deceptive amount of tankiness, and Lizard, the much more straightforward, I don't want to get hurt now. So I think that gives at least some flexibility for list building, especially since Lizard is going to be better against physical focused teams like Web Warriors. Whereas Mysterio, you have additional options which can be potentially deadly against low stamina models, like a number of 2-threat models.
I really do want to bring him now with Kraven because he can push things into Kraven's range without Kraven moving, which gives him the extra dice.
Yeah. Or just how many models are there with 4 stamina that are 2-threat? Okoye, Toad, Black Widow.
Yep.
Between his attack and using the trick to advance them into tricks and traps, that might be enough to just knock out, to daze or knock out a Black Widow or a Toad.
Actually,
if he can get hands on them.
And with Goblin, if you can push him into a piece of terrain, Goblin can use his reactive power that says the terrain blows up and does damage to him. So you've got a lot of different combo. You're going to have your opponent watching a lot of different places, but you're not going to do a lot of damage. You're going to plink them.
Yep.
All right.
And final thought is for Mysterio is remember you've got whatever the spender is called. It's got a cool name. Curtain call to throw people away from you and clear some space.
Yep. So I like him. I'm going to try him on Thursday and see how he fits into my Criminal Syndicate. And he's painted too because he was really fun to paint.
He actually is. I'm doing him now.
He is a really amazing model to do just a lot of different techniques on. So thank you for watching. We are going to probably do God, what's the whip? Red something.
Omega Red.
Omega Red. We're probably doing Omega Red next week.
Whip.
He's got this too. Oh, forget it. Whatever.
I got it there. He's also got a nay too.
Yeah, he does. All right. So, thank you for watching. I don't know why, but thank you for watching.
We can't explain it.
Game off.
Bye.